Hey, it's Chronologically Gaming, the only channel that's perpetually retro because we're playing every video game in order of release. And yes, I am old enough to talk about video games of this vintage. Welcome everyone to May of 1982. Are you ready for this?
Way down deep inside of every man, there's a little boy, an Atari fan.
Does anyone really play that way with the paddle controller?
The boy will come out when he plays a game from Atari. Have you played Atari today?
Give a man an Atari game and he'll turn into a little boy. But don't worry, he'll be grown up enough to share it. Have you played Atari today?
That's a good point. Yeah, maybe a mom played that way, but that's exactly how my wife feels about my video gaming. I just turned into a little boy. Or you must be really into Super Breakout if that's the case. All right, so today we're going to be talking and playing no games because we're going to be checking out the May issue of Electronic Games, the best video game magazine at the time. Let's see what Electronic Games issue 3 has for us. This issue is, like the other Electronic Games, covers lots of stuff. It covers the video games, computer games, standalone games, and arcades. And at the time, video games is how they referred to console games. So I guess all the other ones aren't video games, and only these are console games. But just so you know, this does cover everything. It's the gamut. It's the magazine that I would have made if I went back in time as Chronologically Gaming to make a magazine. It's fantastic. So this one is the issue. Move over, guys. Here come the gals. Women enjoy the arcade revolution. And there is a woman playing Centipede, which was pretty popular at the time. Pac-Man, of course, was another one that drew women to the arcades. But no woman looked like that in the arcades. They were still pretty seedy for the time. Maybe she was in the mall and just wandered into the arcade. We also have strategy sessions for a few other things. Preview of video games in 1982. And then talking about the left-handed joystick. So a lot we get to cover in this one. This is another time that we're not going to be going through everything in the table of contents because we're going to go through there as much as we can in the magazine through the whole episode because this is awesome. Love this one. So this is an ad for Atari. Can't compare it to any other video game because they're only comparing on the console. They're not comparing to computer because we saw a few copies of people doing that. Oh, that's why you played. Yeah, right. All right, so after the ad for Atari, here's our table of contents. And we're not going to go through everything here because this is pretty much, we're going to talk about everything in the magazine already. The next ad is for Space Chase by Apollo, which is interesting because I saw an article the other day that said that the second third-party publisher after Activision was a Magic. And I find that hard to believe because on the channel, the next publisher or third-party publisher for Atari that we saw was Apollo. And here it is, one of their ads, a full-page ad for Space Chase that we've already checked out. There it is in the bottom left of the box. I'd say one of the best ones by Apollo, but still not really up to the same quality as Activision. They are the kings of the third-party software, definitely. And the next section they call is Switch On. This one is breaking down some stats, which is kind of interesting. The staff wants to know what kind of demographic is playing video games. Who's playing video games out there right now? Who's reading this magazine right now? Very little is known about who exactly participates in America's fastest growing hobby. They say the typical arcader is a 25-year-old male. Although the number of female players is rising rapidly, see Joyce Worley's Women's Join the Arcade Revolution in this issue, it still says over here on the far left that men account for 96% of the total video gamers out there. So are women really starting the video game revolution if 96% of them are men? At least what it says here on the side. The wide age spread testifies the universal appeal of electronic gaming. 1/4 of all of you, at least it says in their poll, are under 16 reading this magazine right now. An equal percentage fall into the 16 to 25-year-old bracket, and the remaining 51% are over the age of 26. So interesting stats. To read a magazine in 1982, and the usual age is older. Because for me, the gaming for me started whenever I was very young, playing Atari and playing the Nintendo Entertainment System. But that was very young, elementary school. And they're saying the demographic for reading this magazine and gamers at this point are over the age of 16. Teenagers and over 26. Yeah, the majority percentage is 51%. I just find that incredible. That depends on, I guess, the poll, because it's just a magazine poll. How accurate could it be? It says also 40% of families have the average income of $20,000 to $39,000, and an additional 10% live in households that earn $40,000 a year. Wow. Slightly less than half of you have homeschool, some schooling beyond the 12th grade, and 1 in 4 is currently studying for their high school diploma. They say that electronic gaming readers own a video game system, and they say that 55% of them have the Atari 2600 at home. They say that Odyssey 2 and the Intellivision represent 18% of the survey sample. So only 18%, they say here, have the Intellivision. That's crazy. And then we say that nearly 1/4 already own a microcomputer. Another 44% expect to purchase one within the next 12 months. So not too much having microcomputers at the time. Atari's 400, 800, and the Apple II Plus are currently the most popular. I'd love to see the actual numbers. What is the #1 computer right now in May of 1982? Is it the Apple II or is the Atari home computer? Yeah, this magazine was the best. I would say the one you should be checking out to get the most of all video games, all the spectrum, arcade, home consoles, computers. It's got it all. And it also says arcading is arcading an expensive hobby? Typical player spends about $5 a week in the arcade. Approximately 28% shell out $15 to $20 a week. Wow, in the arcade. Well, I guess a week? Well, yeah, no, in 1982 per week, that's a lot. It's still taking quarters at the time. So that's your future poll. And then over on the right is just Arnie Katz coming out of the, telling out that he's not Frank Laney Jr. He was writing under a pseudonym. So here he is, the real Arnie Katz is out, and he's writing for Electronic Games. All right, so we'll scroll down to our next ad. This is an ad for the Coleco standalones. And I first saw this and was bewildered because on the show, we prepared every standalone that I could get to run through emulation. But over there is Galaxian. There was no standalone way to play the Galaxian handheld, so I was going to miss it. This is it. This is where we'd see the Galaxian handheld. I know it existed, but I thought for sure that there'd be a way to play it or emulate it, but there's not, at least to my research. But there it is, the best, where all the rich kids got the handholds back then. All right, our next section is the Electronic Games Hotline. And this one just has some quick news of what's happening in the world of video games. Over here on the left, not looking too good for Apollo. Apollo's offering a recall for Skeet Shoot, which is the game that we checked on the channel. We played with John D'Elia when he came on. It was one of the first ones we saw by Apollo, what we would consider the bargain bin at the time. They have an example of a really bad screenshot. It still looks manufactured. It doesn't look like an actual capture of the screen. They just put together on construction paper what it is. It always looks that way when we see it on boxes and on the magazine. That's true. Pinball machines were still popular at the time. Getting your parents to pay for you to go to the arcades and play those. I wouldn't say the competition is kind of neck and neck though, because pinball still hasn't been taken over completely by arcades. It's still very popular. So this is offering a recall that Skeet Shoot is one of the first cartridges they made, and they're having problems with it. The designer who created the game has too many lines on the screen, which the one we played must have been one of the ones after the recalls. It had no problems with the screen. It was just not a very good game. But you can send your defective cartridges to Apollo. Thanks, Apollo. That's some high quality. And here's some people playing actual barnstorming in Activision, going to on the field to get some insight on how to play the game or how to create the game. And then over here, the Odyssey 2, this is the Odyssey Outlook, the premiere of a few new games. Freedom Fighter is coming, a UFO-type science fiction shootout. The Great Wall Street Fortune Hunt, which Freedom Fighter is another one that we're going to be checking out really soon on the Odyssey 2. The Great Wall Street Fortune Hunt is another one of those really giant, let's mix a video game and a board game together. And we've been waiting a while for this one because the big one was Quest for the Rings, which was fantastic. One of the best games, I'd say, for the time. But Great Wall Street Fortune Hunt, everyone's waiting, and we've seen in a few magazines they've advertised, get ready, another big, massive / board game video games coming out. But Great Wall Street Fortune Hunt, it's not really much to look forward to. But over here is Pac-Man Fever. I mentioned that in our last episode. Pac-Man Fever is now on the Billboard charts, despite what people would believe. There's a video game song on the Billboard charts. Yes, there is. The rockabilly style pop songs rocketed to the top 100 chart to become one of the biggest novelty hit singles in several years. Did you hear that one on the radio? It was that popular. A video game popular song. Pac-Man fans absolutely love the idea. 2 days later, they came back to me with the song. The album will be released this month. How about that? That's pretty cool. And then over here is Video Game Gum, which I guess they got to put whatever's in the news. But yeah, it's Asteroids Bubblegum. Okay. And then over here for the computer side, what's coming up soon? And the new IBM personal computer hasn't drawn much response from arcaders thus far. We are on the top of the top, the newest of the new here on Chronologically Gaming. So we've seen what IBM has to show for video games. First among them is Automated Simulations, expects to have IBM-compatible games available for the end of the year. It's going to go up and up. We know IBM's going to be pushing out some really good ones. Yeah, the Rockabilly Revival. Is that why it got so popular? Because there was other Rockabilly songs that were coming out at the same time? And then we also have Sentient Software doing Oh Topos. I don't know why they advertised that one. I guess it is coming up. And then Mike Potter, Ace Atari programmers moved to Crystalware and to Synapse from Crystalware to Synapse Software. And Mike Potter, we've seen him do a few games on Crystalware, pretty good. His revised and improved version of Protector is already out on computer, which I don't think we've seen that one yet, but we will. Oh, we will. All right, going on to our next section is still in the hotline. Over here on the left side is Electronic Games Picked Hits. And this is what they say are the top hits currently for May 1982. And we have popular video games. Bear in mind, video games just means console games. Their number one game, they say, is Asteroids for the Atari VCS. I don't understand this. Why? Why would Asteroids on the VCS be the number one game? It is good, but there's better games for the Atari VCS, and there's better versions of Asteroids. This is the one that the asteroids don't even follow physics. They just kind of fall on the side of the screen. I wasn't impressed since we've seen every single video game, but I don't understand why it's the number one. Maybe because Asteroids is so popular. Missile Command, in my opinion, would be the number one. And Adventure, yes. Adventure and Missile Command, yes. But why is Asteroids number one? I don't get it. Space Invaders is still kicking, the killer app. And then we have on Intellivision, which it's cool they have Intellivision and the Odyssey featured here. Baseball, Space Battle, Football. And then Kaboom is up there, yes, with tennis. UFO on the Odyssey 2 is all right. I would say Quest for the Rings would be a better one. But these are handpicked, I guess. That's a good point. Maybe someone was bribed. It's got to be. It is a good game. Asteroids is good, but it's not the best of the best for the VCS, especially now. There's a lot more that you could play out there. Think of all the games that Activision's pumped out. And then we have popular computer games. Star Raiders, they say, is still number one. That's excellent. Space Invaders on Atari is an excellent one for the computer. Missile Command, really, really good. They don't have... Oh, they have the TRS-80. Adventureland by Scott Adams is on here. Cool. With Jawbreaker pulling up the number 5 position. And then we have even Coin-Op. They've voted the arcade games what is the top position. They still say Pac-Man is number 1 for arcade. Then Asteroids, Defender, Centipede, Space Invaders, Battlezone, Missile Command, Gorf, Venture, and Galaxian. And this is what, I guess, readers, looks like 600 reader polls were returned. So you got a little bit of a demographic for the readers of electronic games. And then over here we have the Astro update. Astrovision's taking control firm control of the old Bally Professional arcade system, which is another home console. So they are now the reason why you can sometimes get Bally Professional Arcade and sometimes you can get Astrocade as different names and under Astrovision. They took it over now and they say they're going to be making some new games, but it's not going to save the console. Sorry to break it to you. They demonstrate their new Galactic Invasion at the trade show. That's the picture we see here on the left side with the Galaxian champ Mike Kohler, who's 14 years old in the picture, setting the new world record at the 9th level. So he's playing the console. I'm looking down. Yeah, you can see the controllers. They're the ones with the trigger and the analog control at the top. Not going to help him. Then we got to add for the pit over on the right side. Just check that one out. Kind of a difficult take on Dig Dug, or the digging game. I would say Dig Dug's better. And then we have Mattel, what they're doing with the Intellivision. They say, don't be surprised to hear sounds of explosions and digital counters reverberating throughout the land. They'll indeed be live with the towns of Astro Smashing as Astro Smash is released. Special package master components have Astro Smash cartridges, along with entry blanks, can be obtained from dealers that can take and practice their high scores at home. There it is. Plugging in your IntelliVoice to your Intellivision to make it talk. Lots of consoles talking. We've already heard computers talking. Arcade games are talking. We're going to get some more consoles talking. We've already heard the Odyssey 2 talk for us a few times, I believe. No, I didn't see that trailer for it. About the, I know of the history on it, but I haven't heard of the trailer for it. Yeah, and this is, Pac-Man has already been released. This is the point where Miss Pac-Man has already come out in North America. So you notice that one isn't shown here. This is May, but Miss Pac-Man has already been out. She's been out since February. Maybe it's just not in the arcades of everyone else out there. All right, so breezing down to our next section, which is the test lab. Are you suffering from VCS distress? We usually don't see this in electronic games. We saw this in Analog Computing and Softline and a few other computer video game magazines where they talk about how to troubleshoot things that happen, because a lot of other things happen on home computers rather than on your home console. So this is kind of nice. They just tell you that you can pay a fee to Atari for service to your VCS, but then they tell you, here's what you can do at home. All the steps for maintenance on your VCS. So if anyone's at home right now, you got your Atari VCS, you need some help, there you go. Do it yourself. Don't pay that, how much was it in 1982? $36.50 to get your VCS taken care of. You can just do it yourself. Thanks, Electronic Gaming. And then here we have the Q&A section. The waiting room's full, the game doctor is here on Electronic Games to tell you how to help you out. And this one is kind of like not really troubleshooting like they do on the computer games. This is just help with the game. How do you, or questions about video games. We got a few people that ask questions like, why is it that we see blocky numbers and letters on different consoles, but the Odyssey 2 has the alphanumeric characters with curves in them? They look really nice. And it's because the Odyssey 2 has, the microprocessor contains all 10 numbers and 26 alphabet characters in its memory, and enables to produce the letters, words, and numbers without having to build them from blocks. So that's kind of cool, at least about the Odyssey 2, but it's not still selling well. And then we have a question about auto racing for the Intellivision. And how much of these are actually real questions submitted by users, and how much of them are staged? Because it's possible that these could have been the companies wanting again to market for the console, so they put in a fabricated question. You never know. You never know. Actually, so this one over here is interesting. Is it possible to use the graphics generated by the Atari 400-800 to create a pattern and then edit them to videotape? So professionalize them and make your own video production for it. And they say, yes, you can do it, but it's not going to be a snap. You have to do a bunch of stuff that they explain. But here's some more screenshots that lead me again to believe that it's not real screenshots taken with a camera. They're just making them up to look like the games. There's an example of the asteroids and alphanumeric on the Odyssey 2. All right, and here we go. We got to add for KC Munchkin, the new game on your Odyssey 2. You don't destroy your enemies, you simply eat them. We've even seen in Europe the release of Munchkin on the Philips video pack. So KC is all over the place. He's in Europe and in North America right now. The better Pac-Man game or Pac-Man style game to play at home. And here is the Odyssey section. They're really trying to push, please buy an Odyssey 2. Everyone's buying Atari. Will you please buy it? Here's what you get. And it's a really big ad. I think it's 2 pages. We've seen this a few times as Electronic Games. They break down everything. The unit value, the cartridge, the games you get, game selection, the keyboard, Special function keys. Look at that. And it's got a joystick. You like joysticks? Come on, buy the Odyssey 2, please. Look what the experts say about the Odyssey 2. Yeah, they're really milking the advertisement for the Odyssey 2 there. And then look at this. It's even longer. It's more than 2 pages. 40 fun games available. There's all the ones. And I think we've seen everything. UFO, Monkey Shines, football. By the way, Monkey Shines was the very first way you could play a jumping platformer at home that we've seen. We play everything, so I was surprised. Of all the games after Donkey Kong, this was the first one as a home console game. Monkey Shines is the winner. I really hope it doesn't endorse cannibalism. All right, so let's go down. Okay, so it's more Q&A of what's next. Here's another one that's interesting on the far left side. Is it possible for a video game cartridge from one company to be used with the console of another company? And they say, this is the single most asked question we received here. So people trying to, take out their Intellivision cartridge and put it in their Atari and play, and they simply say no. And they say perhaps somewhere along the line we may see a form of adapter or interface developed that would allow such interchangeability. But that's a long way off, and we're going to actually see it this year. This year is when it happens. And I believe it's being worked on now. So I think they snuck this question in kind of like a, just get ready. You're going to be able to plug your Atari games into your ColecoVision, all that's going to muck things up. That's right, the ColecoVision. All right, so the next one is the programs for the Atari computers looked at, from Atari computers come in 3 graphic modes, so they're asking about those. And then this one is an owner of the Atari VCS. I'm curious of the number of cartridges offered by Atari. I can now boast of 43 different cartridges, but at least 3 are not on the list: Starship, Space War, and Miniature Golf. Are they no longer available or mentioned in the... Okay, chill out, buddy. Stop buying so many Atari games. Oh my gosh. And then this question is, I would like to appreciate if you give me some information on the Mattel Intellivision. I guess they're saying the Magnavox Odyssey ads are too verbose, and we need some Intellivision ads. First off, let's explain to our readers what the PAL system is. Wow, they're explaining what PAL is in 1982? The television image we see on our TV screens are composed of lines of resolution. Wow, they're breaking down PAL resolution. I didn't know they were talking about it that long ago. That's pretty cool. So for the uninitiated, it's just the difference between the way we interpret televisions in North America, the NTSC, and then in Europe with the PAL. So they're telling the difference between the two systems. So they're essentially getting about 50 frames per second in Europe, and we're getting closely to 60 in North America, which is too bad. Man, there's so many people that I knew in Europe that found out about this later. As kids, they just played games. They didn't know Sonic the Hedgehog was playing slower than we were in North America, and I'd be pretty bummed out too. No, they didn't explain C-Cam. That's true. We played everything. Well, I don't think we've seen C-Cam yet. It hasn't. We haven't had any games in that region yet, but we will. We'll play. Oh no, we played New Zealand. We have. Yeah, we have played. We played C-Cam already. Okay, so this is the Reader's Replay. This is about left-handed games, and I'm a left-handed person, so I've never had any problems with left-handed gaming. I just learned to deal with it. Does anyone remember when mice were first popular on home computers and they offered the ability for you to switch to your left hand and use the mouse with your left hand? I never did that. I saw the option for it, but even as a left-handed, a southpaw, I didn't care. I was okay doing right-handed and taught myself. So just learn how to use right-handed like everyone else. Yes, lefty, chiptune, awesome. Maybe that's why our ratings are sometimes the same. Who knows? So they have breakdown, they're talking about the left-handed part there, and then an overlooked system. I greatly enjoy electronic games. I have one small complaint to bring to your attention. Your space devoted to coverage of the Bally Professional Arcade is very sparse with the other programmable video games. So here's someone doing a shout out for the other console, which is another reason we have this bloat in North America that's eventually going to cause the crash next year. We have so many consoles. ColecoVision is going to be coming out. We have the Vectrex, there's so many more that are coming down the line in 1982. But he's true. I guess Bally Professional Arcade didn't pay Electronic Games enough money. But their answer is the quality of Astro Professional Arcade had nothing to do with lack of coverage. At the last time we assembled our first 2 issues, we were unsure about the level of commitment Astrovision intended to make in reviving this system. Time has removed some of our doubts, and with new review materials from Astrovision now reaching out our offices regularly, look for greatly expanded coverage of this fine system beginning this issue. So I guess now that Astrovision's a part of it, they're going to cover it some more. And then helping for amateur designers. That's pretty cool. Are there any home computer companies making any strides toward designing a home computer with a specific intention of it being to design and play your own video games? I'm sure many others would want to have this accomplishment. What are you talking about? There's so many computers out there right now that encourage you to develop. We've been playing all the games. They're being developed right now. Who is that? Lou? Lou, you don't know who you're talking about. All right, here is the joystick jury wants you. Are you knowledgeable, opinionated? That's good. And here is where you can put in your opinions of what you should put in electronic gaming and what you shouldn't put in. They have some trends. So this is like a poll that they're putting over on the right side. And, oh, wow, this is a mainframe gamer asking a question. As a Bell system employee and a Unix user, I've come to really enjoy text adventure type games. Oh, man. We got a lot of those we played. After many hours of effort, I was able to complete both Dungeon and Adventure, 2 games available on Unix. It was both satisfaction and remorse that I finished them since I hated to see them end. Wow. Kit Kimes of Montgomery, Illinois, man, you need to come and watch the show. We've been playing every text adventure game. Yeah, so it's talking about bringing those to console, I guess. Yeah. And here's an ad for the selection of games that you can play from GAMES. Never heard of that company. But if we can buy all those, let's do it. All right, so here is the video game outlook. And this one is breaking down some of the games that are going to be coming out on consoles. And right here in the center, look what it is in 1982. It is like the preview of the 5200, before the 5200. What are they calling it? Atari Video System X, I believe. We've already seen a few splashes of what the 5200 is going to be, but it still hasn't officially come out yet. They're just teasing us, Atari. All right, so we got Demon Attack, which we haven't seen yet. Oh, man, that one's great for the VCS. Then we have Trick Shot, another one that's kind of cool. A different take on Pool that comes out. Star Voyager, and then Space Fortress, which I think that one is for the Bally Astrocade. And then they also tease the Great Wall Street Fortune Hunt again for the Odyssey, which is not going to be a good one. Not compared to the other big ones like Quest for the Rings. Okay, so after that, then they talk about, oh, here we go. Yes, what do they say about Atari Pac-Man? Because it just came out. Some specifics are a bit murky. It ought to be several complete new video game systems available in January. Here's the rundown. Oh, okay, so they did talk about Pac-Man back here. There it is. Oh, that's the coin Pac-Man. 1982 cartridge includes games on a broad range of topics. Okay. So this is their picture, though, of Pac-Man on the Atari VCS. Coleco Game System. I want to review. I want to hear someone talk about Pac-Man right now. It's brand new. There's going to be 12 new cartridges on the VCS, another dozen on the Super Game System. That's what they're calling the 5200 right now. VCS titles include Super Breakout, Star Raiders, adapted from the... Okay, yeah, they're pointing out that the Super Game System is pretty much the Atari home computer, and then they convert them to a console. Then they also have Haunted House, Pac-Man Defender, and Berserk that are going to be coming to the Super System. Is that what these are? Are they supposed to be screenshots of what the Super System is going to look like instead of the VCS? Not really that impressive screenshots. All right, and then from Activision, Barnstorm is coming out, Grand Prix, Freeway, Star Master. We've already seen a few of those. Chopper Command. And then Intellivisions has Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, Chess, Space Spartans, and Space Battle. Here we go. The video game craze. What is hot? Star Strike. Night Stalker. Okay, so these are another some new games that are coming out, and then they say, what talks? The B-17 Bomber Squad. Only Intellivision has all 3, and we will be seeing those soon too. It's coming out for your Intellivision, and this one has the IntelliVoice plugged in. So we'll be hearing the Intellivision talk to us. And then coming soon is also a Magic. Star Voyager, Demon Attack, Trick Shot, all those are coming out soon for the Atari VCS, and then Activision. So it's pretty much like an advertisement for what we're going to get on our Atari. Get excited. And here's what's new in the arcades in May of 1982. King Kong goes coin-op. That's right, they're talking about Donkey Kong. Donkey Kong is out, and they have the arcade of Frogger on the side. 2 of the really, really big ones. Donkey Kong we checked out first when it was released in Japan, and then it came out a little bit later, but now it's spreading to more arcades, and everyone's understanding how big Donkey Kong is. I'd say it's one of the best arcade games you could play at the time. Love it. And even though, I don't know if the lawsuit started yet, but they did get sued by Universal Studios for King Kong. Nintendo did. making Donkey Kong. And so look at this. This is just blatantly saying, if you're going to play Donkey Kong, it's like playing King Kong, which Nintendo, refutedly said it's not really King Kong. We weren't basing it on that. And then they talk about Frogger. Spaceships and explosions are there prominently. And then you play Frogger, the latest batch of whimsical video games. That's a fun way to put it. Video games that aren't about space games or shooting anything up. And then they talk about David Crane's Freeway too, which they compare it to Freeway. Interesting, because we played everything in order, so we played Frogger in Japan first. Frogger comes out in Japan, and then just a little bit after that, we saw Freeway by David Crane on Activision. And it is, things crossing the road, but I would say Freeway more is based on the game Spacewalk, where you're just trying to get from one end of the screen to the other with your rocket ship that we saw in the 70s. It's a different take on that, obviously. But Frogger and Freeway, they're not really that related. They did come out kind of close together, though. Interesting. And we also have Make Tracks that's coming out, totally original. There it is. We've seen that one in the arcades. And Kicks, yes, over on the right side. And then they have an example of Kickman, the arcade, another really good one. I love the resolution of Kickman. Very fun to play. We played that one as well. This is great that this magazine breaks down everything. What you can play at home, what you can have in your hand, what's going to be on the computer and in the arcades. They do it all. You can get the most video gaming out of this magazine. And Pac-Man Fever, the single inspired by the most popular video game in America, is a huge hit. Is this the song? It is. Yes, Buckner and Garcia. They have an ad for Pac-Man Fever. Go buy it now on Columbia Records. I was not expecting that. If you really like video games, you'd buy the album, right? Show of hands, who has the album of Pac-Man Fever? All right, here it is. Move over, guys. Women join the arcade revolution, playing Centipede. Again, it's only 96, what was it? 4% of the gamers are women, at least they say, that read the magazine of electronic gaming. So 4% are reading this article right now. Written by Joyce. So this is interesting, just breaking down, what video games appeal to women and why. Are they colorful? They're not dealing with just shooting up a bunch of stuff. I guess Centipede is. But they say it's not the case because pastimes like tennis, swimming, and basketball, anyone could be able to play these games. And it doesn't have to be. It's just because the guys are just so darn creepy. That's why women aren't really playing video games. I mean, if you're going to play some Star Raiders at home, most likely you're not a girl. You're going to be one of those creepy nerds like me playing Star Raiders. All right, so they have... oh my gosh, I'm having so much fun playing Centipede. It's fantastic. And we also have Pac-Man. That's true, too. Pac-Man also started having women play. And then we have Miss Pac-Man as our way of thanking the lady arcaders who played and enjoyed Pac-Man, which in itself was a controversy because they didn't really get the rights from Namco to put out Miss Pac-Man. So over here on the left side, or the right side, we have women picking their favorite games. Is that the 4%? So the 4% are picking the games that they enjoy. According to our charts, Pac-Man is placed first among the coin ops. Two other titles that finished the top 5, Berserk and Space Invaders. Berserk, yes! The same thing can be given greater extent for Asteroid, Space Invaders, and Missile Command are virtually as popular among women as with men. So there it is, the favorite programmable video games or console games. They say again, Asteroids is number 1. What? Well, it's only 4%. I don't know why they pick Asteroids as number 1. Then Space Invaders Quest for the Rings is number 3. Missile Command, and then Video Pinball, another one on the Atari. And then their coin-op games are Pac-Man is number 1. Carnival is number 2. Centipede, Space Invaders, but I mean, how much can you take that as you can take it with a grain of salt because it's 4%. If the women are rating them, it's not really that many women that are rating the games. I'd like to get a review now of getting women gamers rating games in 1982, having thousands and see what they say is the best ones. That would be cool. All right, so Video Game Outlook, taken over from what we had before. What's coming out on the Odyssey? Again, Great Wall Street Fortune Hunt is mentioned, and then Freedom Fighter. And then Astrovision not only showed the Z-Grass keyboard, top-of-the-line games that are going to be on the Bally. Well, not Bally anymore. Bally left. They're going to go make Total Fitness, I guess. And then Apollo is talked about here as well. Oh, Quest for the Orb and Wizard of War are coming out for the Bally Astrocade. I'm going to always call it the Astrocade, even though they changed the name to Astrovision. US games, we got Space Jockey coming out for the VCS. And then Magic. A major new software producer. Yeah, they're up there with Activision, doing some great titles for the Atari VCS. Trickshot, Demon Attack, and Star Voyager. And then Coleco promises video game is compatible with both VCS and Intellivision systems. Does it preview the ColecoVision here in May? Because it's coming out. Video game market's a long way from... Oh, I love this. Although the video game market is a long way from saturation, the overwhelming number of new hardware and software releases will be competing fiercely for the attention of the arcading public. The results of this video game boom remain to be seen, but one side effect is inevitable: a better selection of higher quality games. Oh my gosh, someone please quote that one. Nintendo's Smash Donkey Kong is coming by Coleco, but they don't preview their console. So we got a preview of the 5200, which is coming out later by Atari, but they don't say anything about their own console by Coleco. Yes, it's 1 year away, and they're saying, don't worry, we're going to see higher quality video games out of this. I don't think so. And now we got to add for Interlogic, bringing commercial games. Some new products coming out here. Oh yeah, limited edition adventure, Scott Adams Adventure Series. For $100, you can get this handsome book-style package that contains autographed and individual numbered copies of the first 12 Scott Adams Adventure games. Wow. $100. That's up there with the Sierra game that's out here, Time Zone. Gosh. $100 for video games. And then we got Pac-Man Fever. Yes. Look at all that. You can get a Pac-Man car. Oh my goodness. All right, here we got to add for the Player's Guide to Electronic War Games. This looks like space games again, at least for the artwork. All right, so video games going to war. What is a war game? It's more of a strategy game. And they talk about what is their opinion, war games and the kind of war games that are coming out. Combat is the most widely distributed VCS cartridge by virtue of the fact it comes packed with a VCS console. And then over here on the left, they have, is that Seawolf? Yeah, there we go. Seawolf for your VCS. And so what's a war game then? Combat really isn't a strategy game. It's just another action game or tank style game. Then they have dogfighting games, Air Sea Battle, Red Baron. Oh yeah, in the arcade, Red Baron's awesome. Seawolf, Victory at Sea. Oh, that's going to be on the Astrovision. Okay. Or the Bally Astrocade. And then we have Conquest of the World. Oh yeah, War of Nerves. That one is slightly strategy. You can even say borderline real-time strategy, War of Nerves for the Odyssey. That's pretty nice. And then Armored Battle. It's just combat with updated graphics. Not better gameplay, though. It's close. Combat's more nostalgia than Armored Battle on Intellivision. Intellivision's still impressive to me. Even with all these games, all the consoles. It's pretty cool. All right, so let's breeze through this part. And computers create the electronic battlefield. We have, now here's some real strategy games. Waterloo on the Apple II and Atari 800. That's it. That's what I'm talking about. I thought that was what we were talking about for war games. Napoleon's Campaign, the Battle of Shiloh. These are the, you really want to get down and play a strategy game kind of games that we played on the channel. There it is, a great screenshot of Shiloh. Is that one manufactured too? Yes. I don't think they took an actual picture of Shiloh. Wow. Those are the kind of strategy games that we can't play or showcase as well on the live show because you could spend months and months playing those. But they have the Shattered Alliance and then Dark Forest. Oh, the one we couldn't get to load by Serious Software. 1 to 6 players attempt to conquer their neighbors and loot captured castles of their treasure in this entertaining area movement game. Getting in everyone's way, especially in the solitaire variants, are the Gruds, which is that green-looking goblin. Get ready for World War II. Now, what is this artwork from? Women riding on Pegasuses. Pegasuses? Maybe that's Dark Forest, because there's a few strategy games that are out there that take the fantasy approach, not the full-on historical war game. There we go, yeah. So this is just the full-page spread. War games invade the arcade, so their definition of war games is a little loose. It's not strategy. Like you think of a board game, the war game genre. Here's Red Baron in the arcades. And then Scramble. Yeah, I don't know if these are technically war games. Strategy X. That one's pretty cool. That's the vertically scrolling one, I believe, by Taito. No, Konami, that's right. All right, so we have Vanguard over here on the right. Excellent arcade game at the time. And we'll go to our next section. This is Star Strike by Intellivision. I do enjoy Star Strike. It's another one that when I played so much Atari, and now I'm playing everything on Intellivision as well. I got to give props to Mattel, and the Intellivision is an excellent console. The games are great. Yeah, that's true. Where's the mission? There is no mention of Missile Command yet. I'm not sure why. Okay, now our next section is Inside Gaming with Arnie Katz, the man behind the wizard, Bob Ogden. And there he is. The Wizard of War. This is talking about, nice, they get an interview with him to talk to him about it. That's pretty cool. Gorf, Wizard of War, Brickyard, Clowns, and then here's some of the games that will be coming home that we'll see: Football, Clowns, Brickyard, Space Fortress, and Baseball. Love Wizard of War. So nice. All right, and now they usually do this in electronic games where they talk about one arcade. And this one is the Las Vegas Circus Hotel Casino. Has electronic gaming action and thrills of the big top, or gambling, I guess. So all we have is, you can see acrobats, circus performers, but then over here, this is the only thing they show, is just a few people playing, I can't even tell from here, Cosmic Monsters 2. So they do have an arcade there. That's what they're trying to talk about. But at the same time, I guess you can go see the casino and acrobats at Circus. I hadn't thought about that. Going to Las Vegas to play video games. Most people are still for the casino, right? Video games you'll never see, we hope. This is a humorous look at unlikely future video games. And to tell you the truth, some of these sound like games that we already have or have seen in the future. So now that we are in the future, this is probably one of the most interesting articles of the magazine. With the water pistols, yeah, that's true. All right, so these are some game ideas that hopefully will never get a title. So this one's No Holds Barred. They're calling this one Freeway Menace. So none of these are real games. They're just saying they hope they never get made. It's a no holds barred race to the death of the LA freeway system. You're 10 minutes late for work. Your job is put your driving skills to the test. And whiplash and job loss. Realistic sound effects added for your enjoyment. Tires screech. Horns blare. Fenders bend. If you beat the clock and punch in time, a whistle signals if you fail. So that's basically, is that Crazy Taxi? Is that what we just read? And you're going to be killing people? Or maybe that's Grand Theft Auto, Freeway Menace. And then we have Alien Invaders. You're the head of the U.S. Border Patrol crossing. You must search incoming trucks for illegal aliens with unduly hindering law-abiding vehicles. Your opponent controls the smuggling operation. Hiding alien fruit trucks. Can you steal the border? 2 players. I think these are games that we have seen. That's right. It does sound like Death Race 2000, right? And then we have Nuclear War Games. General Quarters, All Hands, Battle Station, Check Your Bearings. We have played this. We have played a Global Thermonuclear War. Yeah, this one is an actual game. That we will play. This one I really do hope we never see. Prom Night Massacre. It's time to put on your corsages, girls, and get out your mace. It's prom night and there's madman loose in the school building. It's a stranger lurking around campus during the girls' gym, or could it be one of your closest friends who has a hang-up nobody knows about? Your only opponent knows for sure as he cleverly corners and attempts to slash you and your opponent-controlled classmates into strips of data tape. You nearly stave off his attack as he pursues you with baseball bats, hockey sticks, and assorted phys-ed equipment. That's right, it is a... It is Prom Night Massacre, where you're playing as trying to kill the killer that's out to get your friends. First player to score 10 points or eliminate the others wins. That actually sounds entertaining, believe it or not. And then we have Gang Wars. Again, these are really extreme games that we have seen the future, and we know that these violent video games have already come out yet. Right? Gang Wars is Grand Theft Auto. It is. Both gangs vulnerable to randomly appear roving police cars. The terrain over which you struggle will constantly shift, calling for new tactics. Computer selects at random from over 250 slum areas around the nation. Street maps with authentic scaler included with deluxe box set. Whip out those joysticks and let's rumble. Every one of these ideas involves violence. So it's like they think there's not, they hope there's not going to be violence in video games in May 1982. Boy, are they wrong. There's an artist rendering of Rush Hour Death Race. And you are running over people, which was controversial. We already had an arcade game that they were like, oh, you can't run over people. And they said, well, it's mutants. It's not really people. Yes, Death by Daylight, right? Oh my gosh. And then we have a variant of asteroids. This is called deluxe medflies. You're the farmer whose field's being ravaged by a swarm of Mediterranean fruit flies with various forms of pesticide. Wait, we have played this. All the centipede variants take this approach. Let's just kill all the bugs. Yeah, this is a real game. That's not a fabricated one. And then we have Roman Circus 1. You and a teammate find yourselves in the Roman era where you compete for the right to worship a religion of your choosing. All around you are hungry lions, bears, Komodo dragons, computer controlled, and all intent of eating you. Defeat them, and the computer sends out a regiment of gladiators to have at you. Is that? Oh, that's the nuclear war games. Which, that's real games. Now, I think we've already seen that one. Nuclear war games. But Roman Circus 1, and Roman Circus 2, the second version of this surefire hit. The roles are reversed. You and another player become the hungry animals, gaining points by devouring as many Christians as possible for the computer judge the signals at the end of the time limit. So you're playing as the animals. I think we've seen that as a game too. They're predicting the future here. And then the last one, is this the last one? Is the PADI Scuba Scare. Spin in your mask and tighten up your weight belt for you and your opponent, or diving buddies, this time using U.S. Navy dive tables provided by this game's cartridge. You and your buddy dive the depths randomly determined by the computer. You descend in murky, turbulent waters and search for the lost treasure of Andrea Doria with only 500 psi gauge pressure remaining on your tank. You have to conserve your energy as you risk decompression sickness, nitrogen narcosis, and subcutaneous emphysema. Wait, so it's a diving game, right? That's all it is. That's not that big a deal. I would say that one is the way to end up. But how many of those remind you of Grand Theft Auto? That's crazy. Too cool. Oh, we have more. No, there is more. No, we do have more. Okay, so we got... we have Teacher Terror. It's your first day as a pedagogue to a unruly mob of high school students from low-income areas, risking abusive behavior, derisive catcalls, pencil shavings in your tobacco pouch, razor-toting females, and spitball shooters. You must attempt to teach a lesson in personal hygiene to them. The computer-controlled students will try to get at you and break your spirit any way they can. 10 points are rewarded for each period you survive. The longer the game goes on, the more challenging it becomes. So it's surviving as a teacher. That's hilarious. And then we have Lynch Mob, the game. You ride out of town with a posse on your trail. You've killed 41 innocent people. There's 5,000 reward for your dead. Again, this is Grand Theft Auto. This is what they're predicting. I can't believe that. And then we have the Brain Transplant game. Oh, is that that's a picture of deluxe medflies. You're racing against the clock to save your patient whose brain is undergoing multiple hemorrhaging, realistic blood effects, screams of agony, and this is a real game. We have surgery simulation games now. Brain transplant games are a thing that they thought weren't going to happen. And then we have Pork Barrel. The video game board game hybrid consists of 8 gamers as members of the U.S. House of Representatives, starting with a modest personal fortune of $250,000. Each congressman attempts to build this nest egg into a cool million. Oh my gosh. So it is a video game bent on being corrupted in Congress or corrupted in politics. Wow. You're supposed to steal money directly from the city treasury to win. Which I think that's a game too. Coming soon, and then we have all these other ones they're throwing out there. Video Horseshoes, which we've seen that. Or no, we're going to see Horseshoes as a video game. Natural Disasters, wow. Amazing that in 1982 they thought these wouldn't be video games. That's scary. Amazing. Yes, Red Dead Redemption. Good shout out for that one. Yeah, and we will see the Texas Chainsaw Massacre soon, but it's funny that in May they said, oh, these can't be real video games, or they better not be real video games. Next article about the left-handed joystick. There's already some games that give you that option, how to turn or how to control the left-handed way, and there's some consoles that design their joysticks that way they can be flipped left or right. I couldn't really say. I'm a southpaw myself. I can play both ways. I'm an ambidextrous gamer, and you got to learn that way. Just join the club, man. All right, next is the Computer Playland, where we got Star Warrior. Yes, the first electronic gamer set down before a video-generated text adventure, imagining into realms of heroism and wizardry. Star Warrior by Epix is the idea of let's make a role-playing game, but make it science fiction. Same idea. They even have examples of other ones by Epix. Rescued Rigel, Date Stones of Rin. Nice. Still programs the same way. You got to use commands, so it's a little cumbersome. And here's some more ads for, what do we got here? Grow With Us. There's a lot of ads for programmers. They know that people got computers out there, and they're trying to get people to join their companies to make some video games. And they're already advertising here. You know who you are. If you know how to program, get out there. All right, so a lot of text here for the computer section. So they're breaking down Star Warrior, and then their next one is Bug Attack, which we've already checked out. It is another one that plays very similar to Centipede. Yeah, there it is. Totally negative. Graphics are quite excellent. Title page blow up is superb, although Sonic capabilities of the Apple are not too impressive. Cavalier, again, gets the most out of what's available. Bug Attack is a disappointment, they say here, especially when compared to past titles like Star Thief. He rates this one a 65 out of 100. And then Crush, Crumble, and Chop. Nice picture of Crush, Crumble, and Chop here on the right side. That one we've already seen several iterations on the home computer space, and we were going to see a lot more. Pretty popular strategy game. Not what you'd expect if you want something arcadey. You won't find it here. It is, let's think about how to be Godzilla and strategize how you want to be Godzilla and destroy everything. And then we got Thief. Another Berserk clone. Oh, here's a where's the Thief? I know they had a picture for it. There we go. Thief. Another one we've played, and then Shooting Gallery. I love how the reviews they obviously don't do the 5-star rating system or say on a scale of 1 to whatever like we do here on the channel. They just flat out just say what the game is. So they say, like, for example, Thief is a superb game. Highly recommended you play that one. So you have to read through the whole article to get. What did they say about Crush, Crumble, and Chop? Is offbeat. Fascinating and solidly constructed strategy game. There'll be more than a seldom played curio in your collection. It's well done with presentation. You can tell they spend a lot of time, and there's a team that's involved with Crush, Crumble, and Chop, not just one person. It's all right. It's pretty good. And then we got Shooting Gallery on your Atari 800 and 400. Graphics are pleasing. Did they cut us off? They say continue on the next one. Okay, it gives the game a slightly clunky look. Background calliope music, on the other hand, makes a delightful touch. Many other sound effects are handled with real expertise. And okay, I think that's all we got for that one. And then we have the strategy session, how to get better at video games. They break down how to play some of these better. How to play in television games like a champ, like skiing or auto racing, Major League Baseball. That's nice. Very handy, very helpful, and kind of a preview of what video game magazines are going to turn into later, where they have full-page spreads of how to play, you know, with all the maps, pictures of getting you through the game. So this one, this section just is helpful. It tells you what can I do to play these games better. Very simply put. Yeah, Major League Baseball. So is this only in television? Oh, nice. They have coin op. How to get better at Tempest. That's awesome. What do we need to do to get better at Tempest? How you can pick your own levels. Nice. So cool. All right, some more ads for what you can buy. How to protect your Atari VCS cartridges. And now our next section is the amazing world of Gobble Games. All right, so the name only for Coin-Op Mega Hit isn't set in outer space, doesn't ask the player to fire a laser cannon, doesn't incarcerate targets in fiery explosions. The answer is the groundbreaking arcade smash of Pac-Man. Nowadays we call these maze games. They're calling them amazing world of Gobble Games, I guess. So this is a bunch of clones of Pac-Man, like Take the Money and Run, Slot Racer, Gobbler, Jawbreaker, and they're not even going to cover the full gamut. They do have Casey Munchkin on here, and Miss Pac-Man, Mousetrap, Crush Roller, Lock and Chase, Roundup. Oh yeah, those are some really good ones that we've seen in the arcades. But there is so many more that we've seen on the channel. And what I'm working on now is turning the link we have down below of all the games we've ever played and adding even more information. So if you want to find and say, what's that game that was a maze-style game? You can just do a search for the maze-style game and be able to find it. I need that because now we're getting up to the point, we're almost reaching 2,000 games we played on the channel, and it's getting a little hard for me to remember which games we played and what they were like. So that'll be helpful. Lots of Gobble Games out there, way more than this one, because we're playing it all. And here's the clubs for gamers. Yes. Where most likely girls are not. Please, if you're in the comments or if you're watching on YouTube, tell me if you were a woman at the time and you were into these clubs. I'd love to know if there was girls that were keen to check out the clubs, get the patches and all that stuff, because I only knew guys that were into it back then. Clubs for gamers. There it is. There's everything you can get from Activision. All the patches. Nice. Activision was the best at it. They really made you feel like you were a winner getting the high score with the patch. And then we have, hey, Atari Age, nice. Which is that? Yeah, the newsletter for Atari. Yeah, I think that one's coming out, or at least the first official one we're going to see by Atari Age. We've already checked out Analog and then Atari Connection, and we'll be seeing that one too. So this is all the different, like, showing you just how big video gaming was. All the clubs, people that were into the game. And next we got to add for, what is this? Oh, electronic basketball. So this article is just to let you know that basketball wasn't very prevalent with video games, because other sports game titles that Pong started were easy to translate. Tennis, soccer, and so forth. But basketball was a little more difficult. And this one is breaking down, hey, if you're a basketball fan, you want to play some video games, here's the ones you want to play. You want to check out the one on the Atari VCS over here on the right side, and then Atari Basketball on the Atari home computer, which is still a great game. The Atari Basketball one is one of the best ones you could play. Oh, but the Intellivision Basketball, oh yeah, adds the complexity. There it is in the center. So, article for all those basketball fans. They're kind of missing out. It's harder to program the basketball games. Tennis is a little easier. So we got another ad for Space Chase by Apollo. What is it? What is $100? Oh, the monogrammed edition only? Wow. Who has the monogrammed edition of Space Chase by Apollo? My gosh. All right, now we go to the Programmable Parade. This one is all about barnstorming. That's going to be coming out soon. There is the classic Activision Rainbow. Barnstorming's all right. It's a pretty good game by Activision. They're heavily advertising for it. They got also Bally Pin on the Astrovision, Space Chase on the VCS by Apollo. Just letting us know what's going to be coming out next. We'll be seeing all of those. That's great. We'll breeze by that. And then we also have horse racing on the Intellivision. Not just for betting. You can even take control of some of the horses. So it's an all right time. Then we have Conquest of the World, the follow-up to the Quest for the Rings. It's another very ambitious title. It's almost like this series on the Odyssey 2 just progressively got a little less in quality. Conquest of the World was second, and it wasn't up to the scope of Quest for the Rings. It was okay, not as good. But then you get to the Wall Street Challenge, and it's not really the best experience. And there we go. We got Steeplechase too. Nice. To check out. Oh, yeah. We'll be seeing that. And then the last part is the standalone scene. What's happening in the world of handhelds? Since I've done the channel checking out everything, including handhelds, the handheld world is a deep, deep chasm. There is so many handhelds from so many different companies all over the world that I believe we're going to be finding electronic handhelds until the end of time. There's always more and more to find. I got a few places I go, like the Handheld Museum or the Handheld Expo, for websites that are trying to collect and find as much as they can, getting artwork and stuff like that. But this is a good place to go to get an idea of handhelds that you couldn't find anywhere else, because some of this stuff can get lost. You'll never find them again. They're going to talk again about the Dungeons and Dragons handheld that we won't see. It's this one right here. There it is. Because this one is it's not all electronic. You can see it's got actual board game pieces. So we're not going to be playing it on the show. You'd have to actually get the board and play it yourself. Cool handheld, though. And then we also have the Casio boxing game, which is on a calculator. Wait, is it yeah, it's a calculator first. So they're already getting boxing for your calculator that you can play. That's pretty cool. And we have Space Invaders, the Intex Space Invader. This is the standalone one. And then we have some ads for any other handhelds. Or is that it? No. And then it goes into our adventure games with a big spread on Castle Wolfenstein. One of the best games that you could play at the time. Really enjoyed that one. That was another game that when we started playing it on the live stream, I wanted to keep playing after the stream. It was too good. Love it. And then Cyborg by Sentient Software on Apple II, which they're also getting Topos, which we played the first version, which is text only. And that adventure game is going to end up having graphics later that we'll be playing. There it is, Castle Wolfenstein. Where'd they get that screenshot from? It's not red. On the Atari home computer, no, it's not right on the Atari home computer either, so I don't know where they're getting that picture from. On the right, though, that is the Atari version of Castle Wolfenstein. An analog adventure, nice. And then, as usual, they have the poll that you can fill out, send in. Look at this. What sex are you? Age, family income. This is where they're getting all their information, so that is helpful. And then what's next in electronic games? The Grand Slam. We're going to have the national pastime of the most popular topics of electronic sports simulations. Electronic games will help you separate the pennant-winning baseball games from cellar dwellers. Oh, really? Then we have the Player's Guide to Electronic Adventures coming up next. Pac-Maniacs and some tips for mastering Pac-Man. And a few other things. You can see all they also want to know which part or sections of the magazine are popular or not popular. This one's going to be on sale May 11th. All right, so that was Electronic Games, Issue 3. We got to put our video game playing. We really didn't play any video games today. We read all about video games, but we'll be playing some video games next time as we check out everything from 1982 and moving forward. Think of all the consoles and games coming out. Lots to look forward to. Always something new to see. That's it for today. And like I always say, when all else fails, use fire. Hey everybody, thanks for checking out the channel and joining me on my quest to play every single video game in order of release. We'll be streaming live every weekday at 9 p.m. Central, so join us and let us know if we missed any games along the way. This video would not be possible without Launchbox, RetroArch, and MAME. Tell all your friends there's some crazy guy named Chronologically Gaming trying to play every single video game. We have links down below that'll send you to places like our Discord and Patreon, and one that says all the video games we've ever played. If you go there, it's a list of everything, and you can click right to the game you want to see. Chronologically Gaming is the name to look for. We are perpetually retro, and we will catch you next time.